If you just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
In this bulletin, fake Pure Fiji factory closed down in China. Military conducts internal reforms. And government considers the fate of King's Wharf. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. An accident outside the Fiji National University campus in Samambula, Suva caused major traffic this afternoon. The accident involved a heavy goods vehicle and at least 2 taxis. The truck, coming down Princess Road, hit the back of a taxi before rolling down to the intersection and falling sideways. The tray narrowly missed the driver's seat of a second taxi. Emergency responders are at the scene. Police are investigating. Pure Fiji Limited has had to ensure its copyright protection after the company found a factory in China that was producing fake Pure Fiji products. Pure Fiji founder Gaetan Austin says the matter was sorted out amicably, but not before both governments were asked to intervene.
It's a brand that sells itself, from the spas across the country to high-end stores across the globe. Pure Fiji is a brand not only selling Fiji, but the pure beauty of our natural surroundings. So when the company was tipped off about a copycat factory in China, the matter became one of national importance.
I think it was a factory already in existence that was manufacturing other products, you know.
And then just duplicating the packaging.
Yes, yes. But it was very short-lived, you know, so we were very lucky.
Austin says the matter has been dealt with for now.
You know, fortunately in this world, imperfect as it is, sometimes there are means of correcting injustices and illegal activities, and so we went through the trademark people and also the embassies involved and high commissions, and it was all resolved amicably. But you have to watch for that sort of thing and stamp it right out, you know, because it's not fair.
Pure Fiji is a premier global brand, and while this copycat incident has failed to make any significant dent, it is a reminder of just how scrupulous competition can be. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The government is weighing its options on expanding the King's Wharf in Suva or relocating it entirely. Public Enterprise Minister Said Qayyum says the first step is to find a private investor.
The King's Wharf started off as a wooden pier in 1912, serving Fiji and the Pacific. Over the years, it entered the era of concrete deck and piles, with additional cargo sheds being built. And finally, late in 2005, a $31 million upgrade of the wharf was completed. Now, almost 10 years later, government is looking at further upgrades.
Government had advertised about 18 months ago calling for private sector participation with the Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, and that those applications have been assessed, and we're currently in talks with various parties regarding the partial divestment of shares in Fiji Ports Corporation Limited. As part of those negotiations, obviously we are looking at expansion of the wharf or at another site.
Said Qayyum says the current state of the wharf is less than desirable.
Currently, the Suva port, only part of it is used for the container offloading and unloading, because the other half or the other part of it is very fundamentally dilapidated. So it cannot handle the weight. It can only handle the cruise liners that come in and passengers get off. So you obviously cannot run a key port of your country in that fashion.
And an assessment on the critical infrastructure requirements needs to be done first.
Obviously, an assessment needs to be made in terms of, do you reinforce the foundations, do you expand on what you have, or you can create another site altogether in terms of having your cargo shipping in one area and the fishing boats in one area and your cruise liners in another area.
The government is yet to put a dollar value to the proposed upgrade, as it's still in the planning stages. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
Civil Aviation Minister Ayasai Qayyum says it's important to maintain control over Fiji Airways and not allow veto rights to shareholder Qantas. The Australian airline has 46% shares in Fiji Airways, but lost control over operational matters following the National Airlines Decree in 2012. Christopher Chand reports.
The relationship between the government and Qantas has been fragile since 2012. The minister explaining in Parliament today the need for control.
There are those who want to downplay Fiji Airways' potential by, amongst other things, arguing for a closer relationship with Qantas. I would like to clearly state that they still hold 46% of Fiji Airways shares, an issue we need to deal with in time to come. But the fact is this, Madam Speaker, as a country that relies on tourism, it is absolutely critical that we have a national airline that we have control of, and that we have control of the fortunes of that airline. It is a matter of national interest. We cannot be subject to the commercial interests of foreign airlines alone.
Qantas had previously showed interest in selling its shares, but wasn't able to agree on a price with the government. Relations deteriorated further when the airline's veto rights over the then Air Pacific were taken away.
As a minority shareholder, these should have never been granted in the first place by the SVT government. And that's why the Fiji First government is committed to ensuring the viability and success of Fiji Airways.
Sayed Qayyum's remarks have drawn criticism from the opposition.
Not saying to an old, recognized partner from where we get majority of our tourists that we don't need them. That saved the company.
Qantas withdrew its 4 board members from Fiji Airways in 2012 and until now do not take part in board meetings. It does, however, remain a shareholder. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
The RFMF is currently conducting an internal restructure on its immediate needs and priorities. The restructure is to conform with the 2015 national budget. Watisoni Rakandroka reports.
Opposition member Ratuiso Tikoda sought an explanation in Parliament from the Minister for Defence about the military restructure. Tikoda asked the details of the proposed restructure of the RFMF and confirm whether it is based on the expansion RFMF's military and intelligence capabilities. In response, Minister Timothy Natuba informed the House of the current internal restructure the RFMF is conducting.
To reflect the current deployment and troops to task, to reflect the current level of peace support operations commitment, the reorganization of the regular cadre of the territorial force in order to strengthen the Navy and the engineers, to properly organize for the volume of the RFMF rural development roles.
Natuba adds that the manning of the 3 RFMF camps in Suva, Lautoka and Lambasa is also under review. The military is also looking at the relocation of the 3 DP radio station at Tongalewu Naval Base to the National Disaster Maritime Office at Selbourne Street in Suva. That would be in compliance with the requirements and standard of the International Maritime Organization.
To strengthen the hydrographic unit in terms of funding and activities and provision of a hydrographic vessel, and to strengthen the maritime search and rescue to be in compliance with the requirement of the International Convention on Maritime Search and Rescue.
The minister confirmed that the review will lead to an increase in the Engineers Regiment and the Naval Division due to the augmented rural development and maritime surveillance responsibilities. Watisoni Rekondoka, FBC News.
Still to come, opposition tables petition on changing the Fiji flag.
Great words there from Lucky Dube and Babana. Hope you enjoyed that number. Different colors just for you. On Gold FM, only the classic hits. Louise with you on the Center Show. Well, thank you so much for the sweet company. This is Alana Miles, one of my favorites, and Black Velvet for you. Hi there. Join me on the Center Show every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the best sounds on Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. A petition has been tabled in Parliament calling for a referendum on the changing of the Fiji flag. Opposition MP Viliame Ngavoka presented the petition signed by 1,500 people before the House this morning. It calls for a committee to come up with a process and an approach to holding a referendum by June 2015.
The citizens in this petition join myself and members of the opposition in seeking truly bipartisan approach that will engage voters and taxpayers on whether they want a new flag and prepare the nation for a concerted effort in owning this proposal.
Ngavoka's petition has been referred to the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights. 3 years after the deal was signed, a rough plan for the Waiala City project will be ready by May this year. Housing Minister Praveen Bala was asked about the multi-million-dollar project in Parliament this morning. He says Waiala City is still in the planning stages.
The authority and the contractor have concluded the final discussion with the functional requirement and performance specifications relating to buildings. At best, the anticipated first draft plans are expected by May 2015.
The 700-acre piece of land is to become an integrated development providing housing and amenities for up to 30,000 people. Local Government Minister Praveen Kumar Bala says the municipal elections will be held once the Local Government Act is reviewed and reformed. Opposition MP Prem Singh sought an explanation in Parliament about when local government elections will be held. Kumar said the Act needs to be reviewed first to improve governance and service delivery of municipal councils and to enhance local government processes.
The Act that we have is an outdated Act. It's a 1972 Act. I've always branded this Act as a Hurricane BB Act.
There will be wide consultation during the review and no timeline delivered. The Suva Special School has farewelled one of its senior teachers who's retiring after 34 years of teaching. Bishwa Sidal has spent his entire career working with different schools for children with special needs. Ellen Stalls has more.
55 years old, Bishwal Sidal has contributed immensely to special education in Fiji. Over the years, he's taught at the Fiji School for the Blind, Hilton Special School and the Suva Special School.
When I first joined special education, I think at that point in time there was very less recognition, for children with special needs. In the last 10-15 years, ministry and the community did realize that children with special needs can be educated. They can go through prescribed curriculum, and also they can go and be integrated back into regular primary, secondary schools.
Having spent 3 decades teaching children with physical and mental challenges, Sidal says there's not enough resources dedicated to this field.
The school that I have been teaching children with intellectual disability, they have various behavior disorders and all the learning difficulties. Whereas if you look at a child at a school for the blind, intellectually they're very okay, right? So those specific needs at the moment are not catered for.
As he looks forward to his retirement, Sidal says teaching is not an easy profession, especially if you're working with teaching children living with learning impediments. Even in a modern Fiji, people still fail to grasp how such children need to be treated.
We just need to do a bit more awareness with the family. That stigma of having a special child equates to something wrong deeds or what. Those beliefs should go away now. So if more and more awareness is created, I'm sure will go a long way. Yeah.
Sidal hopes that Fiji will develop in the area of special needs education in the near future. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie. Good evening. Coming up, Ben Ryan to adjust team for tough conditions in Las Vegas, and boxing bill causes a stir. Details after the break.
बॉलीवुड हीरो पंती रे. Get this.
हीरो सपना दिखेला बंद करो.
क्या करो यार, सबको आती नहीं, मेरी जाती नहीं. मिर्ची मस्त मॉर्निंग में हूँ अश्निल सिंह.
हाय, मैं हूँ काजल.
शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
6 AM to 9 AM.
मिर्ची FM, it's hot.
Concerns have been raised about the comments made by opposition member Semesa Karavaki about women in the sport of boxing. During the passing of the first bill of the year yesterday, Karavaki suggested to take women out from the sport as they are not made for it. Rohit Deo with the details.
The debate on the passing of the bill took a twist in Parliament as comments were made that women shouldn't be allowed to take up the sport of boxing.
Because our women were not made to be punched or to be pounded in the ring. Madam Speaker, our women were made to be loved and protected.
The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre believes the comments made by Karavaki is not fair.
I think it's very unfair on women, comments of that nature. A woman's place is everywhere, and on the sports field, in the workplace, in the home, in Parliament and everywhere else. So I believe that those are very archaic kind of comments coming about women. It also shows a lack of knowledge about women's rights, gender equality, and how the world has moved on.
Women in Parliament did not back down from defending the equal rights of females to indulge in the sport of their choice.
That do not undermine women's power. And people must have heard about Mary Kom, the lady boxer. And I would suggest Honorable Karavaki to read her biodata and read her history so that he can, actually know the woman power.
It is a sport where women box women in a controlled arena with similar weights and sizes and similar strength punches. It is not where men box women, which would be totally unacceptable.
The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre says comments like this should not deter women from doing what they want to.
I just like to say to the girls, to the women, you take up what you want to, where your skills are, where your desires are, and go ahead with it. Don't let people's comments or anything deter you.
The bill, which actually states that amateur boxing will be separate from Boxing Commission of Fiji and will now come under Fasanok, was eventually passed in Parliament. Although Karavaki's comments may not have had any intentions against women, but it has surely raised some eyebrows. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Fiji 7 side needs to play smart rugby in Las Vegas this weekend, says national coach Ben Ryan. Fiji joins New Zealand, Wales and Samoa in the toughest pool at the tournament. Ryan says with only 2 teams progressing from its pool to the quarterfinals, every match will count as a final.
We're in for a very tough weekend as far as a tough pool, and the pitch that we've been training on to the size of the field in Las Vegas is very narrow. Now, if we get our offloading game going, but also make the right decisions on when to offload and when to have a breakdown to get the opposition back on side, because every team will be defending with a bit more line speed and aggression because they've got less space to cover. Outside them, they'll go forward harder. It means we've really got to make good decisions there and not throw 10% offloads that we should be holding on to.
Fiji plays Samoa in its opening match at 1:06 Saturday afternoon, and then will meet Wales at 4:02 p.m. Its last pool match is against New Zealand at 9:05 Sunday morning. And you can watch the Las Vegas Sevens live right here on FBC TV or catch radio commentaries on Bula FM. Telecom Fijiana coach Ilyasa Tanivula is disappointed with the team's performance in the second leg of the Women's World 7 Series. The side arrived home yesterday with a bold title after competing at the Brazil Sevens over the weekend. Josephine Avula reports.
The Telecom Fijiana side arrived yesterday after defeating Spain with 17 points to 12 to win the bowl at the second leg of the Women's World 7 Series in Brazil. Team coach Ilyasa Tanivula says he is not happy with the way they performed and believes they're capable of doing a much better performance.
Disappointing, really. We had a lot, during preparations as a coach and with the players. We've spoke about it. And, the expectation within the squad was to go one better than Dubai. And, I thought we did everything to get there. And I guess on the day it didn't really come off.
Tanivula adds they made basic errors that resulted in the poor outing.
The potential for these girls are there. It's just getting that right mindset on the day, get desperate and just do the right things on the day. And, that's pretty much it. We didn't get desperate. We sort of just gave it away.
After failing to make the cup quarters, Fijiana are now placed 8th on the points table with 14 points. Team captain Priscilla Siata says they will need to take a look at their weaknesses again and work their way up.
I'm a bit disappointed with that, but we'll learn from our mistake as we moving on.
The team is expected to be in camp on next week Monday to start preparations for the next leg, which will be held in Atlanta in the United States on March 14th. Josephine Avula, FBC Sports.
And we now cross live to Josephine in our Nandi office. Josephine, thanks for joining us. So with the Fijiana now placed 8th in the series, how hard is the road to the 2016 Olympics looking?
Yes, Jamie, the Fijiana needs to step up. They have disappointed Tanivula and now need to get back into the good books of the coach when training begins. And despite having voiced his disappointment, Tanivula has already said he will be maintaining his current squad for the remainder of the series. This team now knows they are under pressure and need to get up and challenge their dream of playing in the Olympics is to materialize.
Thanks for that, Josephine. Local rugby league players will undergo a pre-season head-out during the Vodafone Nines tournament in Nandi next weekend. Organisers are expecting a high number of teams to register at the tournament that also serves as a trial for the 2015 Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea.
We hope to increase that to 40 or even more than that. We have 3 grounds at Prince Charles Park, so we have the facilities to accommodate more teams. But at the moment we have 34. The purpose of this event initially is to give our selectors an opportunity to select our squad for the Pacific Games. As you all know, gentlemen, we go back as the defending champions, Rugby League.
The tournament will be held next Saturday at Prince Charles Park. The Cup winners will receive $3,000 while the runners-up walk away with $1,000. The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 football team is ready for their build-up tour in Asia. The players were hosted to a farewell gathering by major sponsor Vodafone at the Fiji Football Association Academy today. Assistant coach Selen Lal says it will be good exposure for the players to compete against top teams.
It's indeed very important since this is just like a mini World Cup. We'll be playing the teams like Myanmar, that is in the World Cup, the Under-20 teams, and Uzbekistan, that is also in our pool. I guess this will give us an idea or a big picture as to where we stand, and yes, it's indeed very important.
The Under-20 side is the first Fiji football side to play in the FIFA-sanctioned tournament. They leave tomorrow for the tour. An 89th minute deflected strike from Willian gave Chelsea a 1-0 victory over Everton that maintained their 7-point lead on the English Premier League football points table. It was a dramatic finish to an unconvincing performance from Jose Mourinho's men, who were missing suspended marksman Diego Costa. Here's the goal.
Chelsea now against 10. Fabregas with the free kick. Howard has chosen to come once more, and to good effect. Lashed back in by Willian!
That was your sports. Good evening.
The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority is now in charge of collecting stamp duty from transfer of land, lease agreements, mortgages and building contracts. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Ministry of Lands and FBC, outlining the processes and procedures for the collection of stamp duty. FBC Chief Executive Officer Chitoko Tikolevu says the MOU allows for effective collection of stamp duty, and FBC will try to minimize the administrative burden on the public. Cloudiness and scattered rain across most of the country today. A trough of low pressure extends from the Solomons and southeastwards to Rotuma and southwest of Fiji. Meanwhile, another trough of low pressure over Vanuatu extends eastwards to the south of Fiji. Associated cloud and rain are expected to affect the weather until Saturday. Savu and Suva recorded 32 degrees, while Ba was slightly lower at 28. The forecast at midnight tomorrow, periods of rain, heavy at times, and few squally thunderstorms over Vanua Levu, the western half of Viti Levu, Taviuni and Yasawa and Mamanu the groups. Elsewhere, occasional rain, heavy at times, and few thunderstorms. Looking towards the weekend, the rain and thunderstorms are expected to ease off on Saturday. And recapping our main stories, a fake Pure Fiji factory has been shut down by authorities in China. Military conducting internal reforms in view of troop deployments overseas, and government considers the fate of King's Wharf expand or relocate. On to our poll question for this week. We're asking, do you agree that the Fiji flag should be changed? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow. Join us at the same time. Good evening.